Now, Labour have announced a new campaign all about the menopause, Anisha. It's an interesting one, this, isn't it? It's basically perhaps time off, maybe, if you're going through the menopause, and just employers being a little bit more open and more understanding.
Yeah, a bit more mindful. So they have sort of come together to talk about putting in place these action plans, menopause action plans, to support women in the workplace. It's targeted to those in larger firms, so those with more than 250 employees.
Right.
And what they hope to do is support women going through the menopause by either educating line managers about the symptoms, making sure they get the time off to go and see their doctor for HRT or any advice that they may need, making sure that they do risk assessments of their workplace. Have they got temperature regulation things in place, like a ventilated room, air conditioning? And what about uniforms as well? No one really wants to wear a bit of polyester when you're having a hot flush, let's be honest.
Indeed.
So they need to have a look at alterations for all those things. So it's thinking about flexible working and how they can change things potentially. Now, there are some companies that are already doing this. Santander, Nationwide, Tesco's have made uniform alterations, and many are making these menopause work pledges to try and encourage the population, the working population of those going through menopause who've got, let's be honest, a lot of skill and expertise to stop going off work, because 1 in 10 people last year who were going through the menopause left work because of their menopausal symptoms. And the Office of National Statistics have said that they think about a third of women aged 50 to 64 are not actually working right now.
And they should be, and they can be if they're...
They may well be if they haven't got any other health conditions, absolutely.
Exactly. Amir, what do you think of this? Is this a step forward? Is it going to be difficult, do you think, to actually enforce this if it comes to being?
Yeah, I think it is a step in the right direction. I think women who go through the menopause, typically age 45 to 55, have expertise in their field of work and need to be supported to stay in work so they can share and teach other people those expertise. And I think reasonable adjustments at work are really important. We've got to balance that out with other people who may be in the workplace with other illnesses as well. Temperature control, I think, is really key here. When you're having a hot flush, you want it to be cooler, but there may be someone with an underactive thyroid or with a chronic lung disease where actually being in a cool room could trigger off their symptoms as well. So it's about finding that balance for everyone to be supported in the workplace. But I think any woman who's having to take time off work because of their menopausal symptoms is not being treated appropriately for their menopause. We need better treatment so people can stay in work. So go and see your doctor if you're having symptoms of the menopause. And if you can't have HRT, I often get asked this, I've got symptoms of the menopause, I can't have HRT. They may have something like an estrogen-dependent breast cancer. There are other medications that are not hormones or estrogen that can help with things like hot flushes, oxybutynin, clonidine, really good non-hormonal treatments for hot flushes and other menopausal symptoms as well. So don't suffer in silence, go and get some treatment.
That's the thing, don't suffer in silence. We've actually been running a poll about this. It's very interesting. We asked you, should employers give women paid leave for the menopause? 55% of you said yes, which of course means 45% said no. And it kind of opens up lots of questions, including whether the same measures could be implemented for things like periods. We know this happens in Spain, don't we? This happens in Spain. You can have time off if you're going through your period. Again, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you have to balance this. Because what you don't want to happen is for employers to think, I'm not going to employ a female because first of all, might be off for a baby, which is absolutely fine, and we've got rules for that, and that's good. But we don't want them to think, oh, well, they're going to be off for that. They're going to be off for, every single month for a few days if they get paid leave, and then menopause too. So it's a balance, isn't it? It's more understanding.
It's more understanding, and I think that's the thing, even with menopause. 3/4 of women, when they take time off due to menopause, don't disclose that to their employers.
Indeed.
And we need to destigmatise this. And with regard to the period, they've got this thing called menstrual leave. So you get 3 days off, which you can extend to 5 days for heavy and painful periods. But my argument here would be, like Amir was saying, is we, as doctors, want to be controlling your symptoms. So if you are suffering and it's affecting your quality of life, you can't go to school, you can't work, I'd like you to come and see Amir and I or anyone else to get these symptoms controlled, because there are things that we can do. And if we can't, we'll refer you to hospital to hope that they get the treatment that you need. And most women can be controlled by seeing a doctor.
Exactly, rather than just saying we're going to take the time off. That's not really helping necessarily. Amir, this is a really interesting one, and I know that this means a lot to you. 7 things that we can do that could reduce the risk of dementia, which obviously would be incredible. So what do we do right now?
Yeah, this is a really good study. So it followed around 14,000 women over 20 years and looked at which ones developed dementia and which ones didn't. And of the ones that didn't, it looked at the habits that they were doing that reduced their risk of dementia. And it's 7 habits that we should all be doing, really. So let's have a look at those habits that we should be doing. They include keeping active, regular exercise, a better diet, that's a Mediterranean diet, keeping a healthy weight, not smoking, keeping your blood pressure under control, your cholesterol, and low blood sugar as well. Now, the key here, Lorraine, is how all of this actually reduces your risk of Alzheimer's dementia. So regular exercise improves blood flow to the brain, which is good for the brain, but it also increases protective chemicals in the brain that protects against Alzheimer's dementia and reduces the rate of age-related brain degeneration. Now, a Mediterranean diet full of colourful fruit and vegetables, I know that's difficult to get right now, but hopefully we'll have them back at the shelves soon enough. But they are full of antioxidants and flavonoids which reduce inflammation and increase protective proteins in the brain that protect against Alzheimer's dementia. And another really important thing, and I do a lot of work around insulin and diabetes, but actually keeping your blood sugars low reduces insulin levels. And when insulin levels are low, it reduces inflammation. Insulin at high levels, if you're snacking all the time, particularly on sugary or refined foods, your insulin levels go up to try and manage those blood sugars, but raised insulin levels all the time increases inflammation, increases your risk of Alzheimer's dementia, but lots of other illnesses as well. So really try and watch how much processed and refined sugar you eat.
Yeah, sugar is the enemy. The absolute enemy. Thank you. Now, Anisha, I know you wanted to clear something up very quickly.
Very quickly. Yeah. Last week we were talking about IBS, lots of causes of IBS. Lots of people wanted me to mention gynecological cancers as well. There are so many causes. But one of the things I wanted to say was we talked about celiac, and I was meant to say all food allergies, and I wanted to clarify celiac disease is not an allergy. It is an autoimmune disease, so it's a reaction to gluten that causes symptoms in the immune system. All right.
Thank you for clearing that up. Thank you so much.